And it was one of those moments where I felt like I was having as clear a conversation as I could with God in that moment. I was in my junior year, about to be a senior in high school. I went to church camp, and I never wanted anything to do with ministry. And I remember I've always been like a front row kid at church camp. I'm always up at the front, like writing down everything and praising and everything. But for some reason this night, I felt like I was supposed to be in the back. And I remember praying to God. I was like sarcastically being like, okay, God, what do you want me to do? Well, what is this? I just felt a spurring in my heart. And he was like, open your eyes, because I'd been praising. My eyes were closed. And I looked out over all of youth camp, and it was probably 250 kids. They were worshiping, and there were kids down at the altar. They were praying. And I remember God telling me, this is what I want you to do. I want you to help people get here, guide them here to this moment with me.
I went to Grove City High School, and there was this group called Dogs for Christ, and one of the teachers had found out about my testimony, about what I'd been through and what the Lord had brought me through, and she asked, hey, Noah, do you ever want to come in and speak and be a part of this group? And so in front of about 100 kids on a Thursday morning, I shared my testimony. I just said, hey, this is what the Lord had done in my life, and I believe he can do it for you in your life. And I just shared the gospel. And at the end, I asked, some of the students, hey, if you want to take a step for Christ, if you want to accept Christ for the first time, would you just raise your hand so we could pray with you? And it was uncountable how many kids raised their hand and accepted Christ that morning. And that was the first time I'd ever spoken anywhere. And that was the moment that I knew, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life, is speak and to preach the gospel.
I still don't have I know exactly what my assignment is. I still don't have that. I think I was just sitting on the couch going about my day when I was praying about this, and I felt like biblical studies was what God was telling me specifically to major in. It's like he wouldn't give me any more details of what I was going to do with that degree and where I was going to go after that. Like, there's never been any of that. He's always taken it step by step with me, day by day.
So at first I was scared, but then I kind of realized that I could find my place. And then after a while, that anxiety kind of fell away. Having peace about this big life change, especially going into senior year. Youth group was the biggest thing I could do, I thought. No way a church would want somebody young or artistic in their church, because that's not what churches are. But more and more I realized there is a place for young people and there's a place for creatives.
I had been in this career of advertising for so long, and it was incredibly comfortable for me. I was praying about an opportunity that I had applied for, and really wrestling in prayer. I heard it clearly. God had said, this is the right role, the right fit. It's the wrong place. Keep making tents. And in that moment, it just became so much more clear that God had been leading me into this, that these were the doors that I needed to be knocking on, the doors that he was waiting to open, and for me to be able to step through those doors in obedience to what God has called me to do.
He said, I want you to do this thing, take this course online. And I'm like, I don't even know what you mean by this. What is that going to mean? And what is that going to mean for my life? And then I finished that course, and God said, all right, here's a hard one. You're going to leave your job. But God provided a job. And so I was able to move from one to the other. And then God said, all right, now I want you to do the real thing. And I signed up for Leadership Focus that year as well. And it was kind of just get to the end of the next step. And then I will make things clear for you.
Growing up in Oklahoma, we would go to the Oklahoma camp. And then this year, for some reason, we had to go to Missouri for a church camp. But towards the end of the week, speaker got up on stage and just changed his message and wanted to really speak directly to students who were called into ministry. And that time was one of the first times I've heard that phrase before. And he's told all of us, the 100 plus that were in that room, that there are pastors and leaders of the church. And if you feel that calling, stand up and go to the back. And immediately I felt that calling, I felt that pull, that tug. And so I went in the back of the room and prayed with one of my youth leaders. And it was the end of that week and the end of most of the weeks that summer that God confirmed my calling into youth ministry. And I felt very clear, this is what I'm going to do with the rest of my life.
But it is the simple fact that the God of the universe has called me to do it.
Everyone's calling, it's going to look different, and nobody's is better than the other. Nobody's better than anyone else. We're just different.
But even if it's not, I believe everybody has a calling to go and make disciples of all nations and baptize them in the name of Jesus. And that can be done in a warehouse. It can be done in a classroom. It can be done anywhere. And
You don't have to be on stage. You don't have to be in the background if you don't want to. You don't have to run a camera or create art. There's a ministry for you anywhere. And the church wants to cultivate that in you.
Part of being called into ministry is trusting that he has a plan and a purpose for your life. So continue to lean into him, continue to trust him, and continue to listen to those around you who have done it before, and just know that God has a plan and purpose for you.